Hey, we're here.
Oh, hello. Campe Diem, everybody.
Oh my gosh, it's a Camp Diem day.
Campe Diem to you, Jordan.
Camp Diem, brother David.
Oh,
Miles,
this rocks,
it's good.
man.
It's good to see you again.
It's great to see you too.
I don't think we've seen each other in person. Like, I missed your going away, so like I haven't seen you in I feel like probably a year and a half. So
Yeah,
we text occasionally and stuff. So
Yeah,
but
we'll throw out.
we haven't been talking much.
Yeah, no, I miss you, buddy. It's great to see you, and it's great to see. We already have people in chat. Hello, hi. It's oh my god, it's a Preston saying hi back immediately.
Yelling at you.
Hi. I was gonna say we should like introduce ourselves and what we do, but like if people are here for a Camp Q&A, they probably know. But
I think they know. I think they definitely know who you are.
Oh my god, you think? Well, hello everybody, welcome. I'm Miles Loon. I'm a co-creator, writer, and the voice of David in Camp animated web series.
And I'm Jordan, his friend.
How dare you? You're still you have a podcast. You got all sorts of stuff going on these days.
That's true. But for Camp, I was also co-creator along with Miles. Was writer, director for several episodes. Forget about that part. Basically the showrunner for the first 4 seasons, and then occasional voice actor. Such as the platypus Whack and Jeremy. No one else would do it, so I stepped up to the plate.
Someone had to do it.
Someone did have to do it. I was reminiscing about that not too long ago with Michael, actually, in the stream I just did with him, and we were talking about how it was like I was supposed to be temp voice for Jeremy, and then we showed it in like one of our like production meetings of just like the temp audio, and I think it was Matt Holla who was just like, oh, I thought it was pretty good, I think you should just do it. And I was like, great, thanks.
Well, we are going to be here for the next hour or so to answer all of your Camp Campbell related questions. And in general to reminisce about the days of yore.
I was just also thinking about how I don't remember the exact first meeting we had about making the show Camp, but it must be coming up on 10 years.
Oh my god.
Because it will turn 9 years old next year.
That's wild.
And I can only hope we were planning it not in just 2016. So at some point between now and the end of the year is it's like the 10-year anniversary of its like birth in our minds.
Yeah.
I still remember where we were when you said the words Camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? It was in the.
We were in that really small conference room.
Yeah, the shitty conference room.
Yeah, this is called the shitty conference room. And you're just like, you threw it out so like casually. It's like I just had an idea for a camp, or like a show about a camp that's like every type of camp. And you just call it Camp. And I go, and you were like, yeah, whatever. And I was just like,
Well, what was so interesting is that like that was Camp was the first real like official original animation of like the newly formed like official animation department.
Yeah.
And we had been tasked with just the most absurd task, which was at the time leadership of the company identified, hey, we're really fortunate. We've got 2 shows here that are doing really well. We got Red vs. Blue, longest running web series. How about that? And we have Ruby, new young adult anime hotness, going great. Awesome. Here's the problem. These are serial shows where you need to watch from episode 1 all the way to now to understand who's who and what's going on and why do you care. And they were like, strictly speaking, that's bad for business. We need some shows that people can just sit down and watch and
throw
like
them on type
something
show.
episodic. Yeah, you can watch any episode. And I remember, I think it was Matt was like, we really want the next Homer Simpson. And in my brain, I went, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was.
But
honestly, like that challenge specifically was like it is the modern day. It's point of,
That thing, but it may not be the one directly in front of you.
what's that?
I was like, you're breaking up pretty bad. I'm not sure if you're
Oh.
using the microphone directly in front of you or if it's choosing something else. I'm just.
Well, you broke it. While you said that, you were breaking up. So let me know if I'm still like messed up.
You
It
sound
could just
great now,
be-
but
it
clearly,
could just be an internet thing. Yeah.
clearly it's sabotage.
they don't want the answers out there. But we kind of just took that like idea of like the everyman thing and was like we split it up amongst the two characters because everyone can relate in parts to both David and Max, and that's how we got our main dynamic between the two main characters.
Yeah, I remember the first stab was like, "What's the everyman?" And then we all took a look in the mirror because we were like, "Well, we're clearly the center of the world."
Right.
But I remember thinking like, "Well, I'm like 24 and feeling pretty burnt out and tired and a little cynical, but don't want to admit it yet." And so we were like, "Yeah, we'll have this camp counselor that's like that." And then at some point, it was just like, "No, hold on, wait. We need the 10-year-old boy to be that." And that was like really, I feel like when it was like,
that was the
hey,
that
now
was
we
the
got
kind of
something
the twist
here.
on it. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, I think I
now you
fixed my
sound
mic.
crystal clear. Oh, you sound
Gotcha.
beautiful, baby.
I got you. But yeah, so I think probably the number one question on everyone's minds is, before it even gets asked, and I'm sure it already did and we just missed it, but is there going to be more Camp? Because not like Rooster Teeth died and then came back. And I would say for us, me and Miles, at least, is that we're at a good point where we have some good closure with what we've done.
Yeah.
The last episode you and I worked on was that special where that we thought was the end of the show.
Yeah, the summer came to a close and
Yeah,
campers moved
yeah.
on. And that was really nice. Like, I can't believe we had the opportunity to do that. And it was scary too, because we hadn't written for the show in years.
Yes.
And I remember
Yes.
like, we had a pretty short window to get a script off the ground. And I remember the first few weeks we were like, ooh, do we still got this?
Dude, it was a lot of banging heads against the walls.
Yeah, man.
A lot of spinning the tires. But
I just remember, the phrase "open carry David" coming back in those early conversations.
Well, see, that was one that we came up with a long time ago. Yeah,
Long time
but I
ago.
think we like looked at old notes and it was like open carry David. That could be something.
It still got legs. It says legs.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that was such a wonderful send off for. I know for me, I don't necessarily want to speak for you, but I think we've talked about it a bit. Like
yeah,
it was really a excuse me, Kippy Davy. I'm gonna come back to that. That's a great question. But that was such a nice piece of emotional closure, and it felt like a great send off and a great moment for us to say like, what a great summer. Let's go off and have some other adventures. And then, Rooster Teeth continuing the show and bringing in new creatives and new characters and stuff. That was really exciting to see. It was great getting to see what our friends like got to do with like. Bernie always described it as like it's kind of a toy box and getting to share your toys with people. Like when I started
exactly.
writing Red
Like,
versus Blue.
You see
it was
what kind
that
of adventures
sensation.
they come up with. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really, really lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like future camp plans, I'm not involved in anything to do with that, and yeah, neither is Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's good out here. I have been working with Bernie on like some RTA stuff, and I told him where I stand on it. Yeah, a couple of RTAs have come out, so we've been working on that. Been working on it with Issa. Yeah, it's been fun.
That makes me so happy.
I think that's like an interesting part of like some of the stuff coming back is that like it feels like it's just fun to get to go with working with like the people we used to work with in a much chiller capacity. But yeah, I think we're ready to like I'm more excited about like new ideas and new projects and stuff because I am incredibly proud of what we did with Camp. And would be afraid of ruining it if we did anymore.
A blemish.
What was the question you saw you wanted to get back?
Cammy David, what was the most fun episode to work on?
Gosh, I feel like we were this. I probably got like more than one answer, and sorry, but we were most in our zone in the season 2 finale, Parents' Day.
Ooh, that was so much fun. That was so much fun.
I just feel like we had been doing so much with that that season and like the characters and messing around with them, and then it just seemed like everything fit when we came up with the concept for a Parents' Day. And it was like, well, clearly they would have this dynamic and these parents would be here.
Yeah.
And it was like, I actually, I didn't do it all the time, but sometimes I would record our like writing sessions.
Yeah.
And I have the first like hour or so of us working on Parents' Day. And I think the time to me suggesting we should make Max cry is about 10 minutes. Like, that happened pretty early on because we started talking about the ideas about, you know, like all the parents are there. It's like, you know, like, and like I think we had agreed that like, well, Max's parents shouldn't show up, and like that's gonna be really hard on him. And it's like we just made him cry. Like
we gotta make that kid cry.
Yeah, that was basically it. It was like he's gotta cry.
I think one of the most challenging episodes, but one that wound up being really fun for me, was the season 2 premiere, which was Cult Camp. That featured the first new musical number since I think the theme song. And I had so much fun coming up with that. And then I don't play any instruments. You play the it goes like this. Do 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 do. Yeah, I play the acapella phone. And I remember like sending a MP3 to oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on our composer for the show.
Ben Zecker.
Ben, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Sent an MP3 to Ben of like I had recorded multiple tracks and layered them on top of each other. Like even me doing the wah 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 of all the zombified kids. And that was just like that was super fun. And then I remember trying to do it again with the Christmas episode, and that was more stressful than fun. Things were busy at that point in time. But Cult Camp was another one that was just such a
I think
blast.
that's a great example of you at your best, where you were like introducing cool dynamics. Like you had a musical number, like directing it was a lot of fun. Like storyboarding it with Al was so fun. Showing it to Issa, who then was like, okay, how do we make this work? And I was like, there's only one 360-degree camera move. Like, it's not, it could be worse, you know? But like, yeah, just like that whole episode was really fun to make. For me, I think like the Parents' Day was the most fun. I had like that one we worked on together. For me, solo was also in season 2 was like the eggs episode. Like that one is just another like cool setting. I love when you can like pair characters together and like, have them interact, and like you don't necessarily know what's going to come out of it. Like you're just like, what's a weird pairing? Nerf and Preston. What could happen?
Yeah. Oh god, it's so grim. Oh man.
And then like it's fun to like come up with all the other ideas. And there's like Preston eating the note, you know, like to hide it. I forgot. Do you remember? He's all, yeah, it's like it had to be Nerf had to enter from behind because he's holding up a note that says "Help me," and then Nerf shows up and he just goes blah, 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 blah.
Oh man.
Oh, this David question.
It comes up a lot.
Even if it's not coming back, would he? Okay. I'm going to preface this at the top. As writers, I feel like we put ourselves into a script, express like ourselves through the show, and sometimes we have intent and sometimes we don't. And then when it's out there, I feel like it's everyone's, you know? Everyone is free to interpret it how they want to or anything. I was always kind of like taken aback by the people who wanted David to adopt Max, because that's just never how I saw their relationship. I saw it more as like big brother, little brother, mentor, mentee.
Yeah.
And I feel like, sure, there are hints that like Max's home life is like less than ideal. Like, there's a reason he acts out and lashes out and is kind of a butt to people. I think you and I kind of just agree that he's got busy parents who are like maybe emotionally like negligent, or like, you know, they're not showing up to his soccer games and stuff like that. Like, they're just pretty. They're not like abusively negligent to him. They're just like I like busy, I guess. Yeah.
They kind of honestly, this thought came to me just now, but like Angelica's parents from the Rugrats, like they love their daughter, but like they're busy workaholics who are focused on like career. And like I always assume Max's parents were so career focused because in their mind they're like, this is how I show love. I support my like child with a roof over his head and like things.
It's not what the
like,
child wants, you know.
It's what they need.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
like some emotional support.
Yeah, they were maybe like emotionally not the most intelligent parents, but like parents that like did care and did try, but just there was a lot of things that they missed.
Yeah, we tried we try to show that sometimes with like there's the one scene where like it's mail day and like they just get Max the same sweater.
Oh yeah,
like he probably needs a sweater. It's like he already has the same sweater. And
I like this idea of like, well, we know that he likes this sweater.
Yeah, it's a very like curt message as well. It's like, saw this, thought of you. Is just like maybe to them that's their love language, you know. But everyone is, like I said, free to interpret it how they want. Like, I won't tell you you're wrong, but like, you know, what we think we're putting out there and how like things kind of get interpreted with like people's headcanons and like the backstories they make up is totally legitimate in my eyes.
Yeah, write that fanfic. Write that Dadvid fanfic.
Like for me, what I liked about how we ended, I don't want to say ended the show because it kept going, but how we ended what I consider the David Max arc, let's say, was Max leaving camp with everything he needs to, all those experiences, the things he's done with David, his friendships, everything he needs to like make it to next summer, or like, you know, kind of thrive a little bit better.
Yeah.
Going home.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Yeah, that was that. I mean, that episode, the end of summer episode that we wrote, was also like a really cathartic episode to write.
Because we took a lot of stuff that like we went through with like where we were like at that point where we versus where we started, just as like people in our experiences was also like quite transformative.
Yeah. We had great times. We had bad times. It's not one or the other. You have to hold both.
Exactly.
And then try and see what can you learn from this.
Exactly. And like that's why it works so well. It's just like, you know, like Max is much more likely to hold on to those bad times. Dave is much more likely to hold on to those good times, you know, like that's why I loved the photo moment where you take a photo, it captures like this perfect moment. You can always look back at it again. It's gone immediately after, but you can always go back to it. I always like to think that maybe Max went on to like do some like photography stuff. Like,
that's really sweet.
Maybe he held on to that. Yeah,
that's really sweet. We just saw a question a second ago. Were we happy with Daniel's arc and where it ended? I'm trying to remember. Did we drop his ass in Siberia?
The last thing we did was go to Antarctica. Yeah,
Antarctica. That's right.
Yeah. We always like if we wanted to, we try to end those like recurring characters and spots where it's like this could be the end of them if we never see them again. But also if we bring them back, like there's room for like, you know, an opening for him to come back.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite things about Camp was like we could always end something and set up something to be brought back later, or we could just drop it and not explain it. Like the first time I think we really established that rule was, I think it's the third episode, is the Flower Scouts episode, where that episode ends with like Max captured by the Wood Scouts and being tortured, and he's like, this sucks. And then the next episode, he's just back in camp, and you don't have to explain it. It was very just like Max got his comeuppance. Yeah, that was really freeing. Yeah, I really
where
that.
we didn't always have to like bring it back around. I mean, I feel like that was definitely our mindset early on too, but I think as we spent more time with the characters and writing more stories for them, like it's impossible to get away with from these kind of like changes. And I feel like there was never a explicit rule about this, but how I always treated it was like if something happens to the camp, like it blows up, or like they move the camp to a different spot, or like whatever wacky thing we do, like to the environment or something, like that stuff I feel like can just change whatever, and like not have to be consistent or like wrapped up. But like if something happened to a character and it seemed like they changed a little bit, that stuff like continues in a through line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
character progression. We tried to be like checkpoint for you. Like we're gonna try and hold on to that. Do you think Daniel died? I think he ascended. And is with Xenu
he probably that's probably what he thinks happened if he did die.
Yeah, it was fun. How do you feel about OCs? Oh, dude, OCs are great. This actually
original characters,
yeah, this goes back to like again in the first season when we were kind of like figuring stuff out. This is kind of a well-known story, but like for a while we were working under the idea that like Camp Campbell had tons of campers, and our like main cast were just kind of like the campers that we would focus on for most of the stories. But I think in like the second episode or whatever, like there's a pirate camp, and you see like other kids. There's like this famous like nondescript unnamed girl camper in one of the group shots in season 1. And everyone's like, who is she? But when I think back to that, because that is, you know, if we could have, it would have been great to have like, oh, it's a bigger camp, whatever. I always imagine it's just OCs of like, it's Camp is the perfect show for an OC.
Exactly.
That new kid that came. Yeah.
That random camper who's in that episode was like part of the the camp was going to be so big that there were going to be like a bunch of nondescript characters, and we dropped that pretty early to just be like, we have 10 campers, like this is plenty of characters. Like we can just make it about the 10 of them.
We don't have $1 million to throw at this every episode.
I forgot to point out we got a little QR code here that you can scan, and like I think it should take you to our Camp page, and like there's some prints and stuff you can get us. We'll sign them for you and stuff. So
yeah. I think there's some new David prints up there, and at a later date we can do like a little signing, Q&A, hangout stream, a separate stream. Right now it's just us though. We're just doing our thing.
This is cute. Anyway. What character in the show do you guys see yourselves the most in? For me, it's always been David.
Max. It's pretty. Yeah, I David is who I want to be, and Max is who I am sometimes. It's Max and David. Those two. I ping pong between those two.
Max was definitely easier to write just because of like it's easy to be cynical, you know. So like I feel like a Max line was always easy. But yeah, it's kind of that same deal where it's like it's both of them, you know. You wanna be the David, but we also kind of explored like how David can go like too far with like the optimism and stuff, and like pushing Max a little too much when like you shouldn't be pushing like happiness on this kid right now. But as like the ancillary characters, I think I think also Neil. Like I'm just gonna say all of them at this point because. Gwen, especially like the like what am I doing with my life sometimes. But I think most of all it's Max for me.
Nice. I love this question from Toby. What was the creative ideas behind the Flower Scouts and Wood Scouts? What purpose plot wise did you want them to serve?
You created those camps, right? Like for your episode,
I am a child of the 90s. I grew up watching 90s cartoons, and everybody knows only the best 90s cartoons have main characters, but they're evil. It's my favorite fucking trope. It's the best.
The evil
you have
version.
A Sonic the Hedgehog? Try Metal Sonic.
You have Edda
or-
and Eddie. You have the Kanker sisters.
The Kanker sisters. And so I was in the Boy Scouts. I mean, that was the huge inspiration for the show, was a backpacking camp called Philmont that I went to in Mexico. But I wanted there to be, and I also just love like villains, even in shows where like there shouldn't be villains. But like Daniel's a villain in a show that doesn't need villains. And the Wood Scouts and Flower Scouts they were our foils. It was they were factions of characters who like our Camp Campbell kids may not always get along. In fact, most of them probably drive each other crazy, but they could come together if it meant beating those assholes. Like that was kind of like a big inspiration for it. And then also just to have some more like obviously antagonistic characters, with the Wood Scouts being your like male bully militant organization, and the Flower Scouts being your shallow mean girls, who then kind of became something different. Like they were still shallow mean girls, but they
what I like about like just an ensemble show is that like you can always see characters falling into like other character tropes, I guess. And like for the Flower Scouts in general, it does seem like a multi-level marketing scheme, or like a pyramid scheme would be like, where they sell essential oils would be definitely like something that they fall into, you know? It's like it just becomes like they become the medium for like that joke or something, you know? It's like, well, who's the most likely to do this? It's them. Yeah. How does Max randomly appear behind people? It's a cartoon. That's the other thing. Like, you know, like we wanted to keep the wacky cartoon stuff wherever we could, which is why we would have random things happen, like, you know, the mess hall exploded one time and it was back fine the next episode. What did Jeremy Fart? What camp did Jeremy Fart sign up for? Man, I don't think.
Yeah, I've seen that question a couple times.
I don't think we thought of that when we just
let's do it right now. I've seen that one. I've seen that question, and I've seen what's Max's birthday. I don't have answers to either of them, but maybe we could do it right now.
Okay.
All right. I could see. Okay. Ooh. Okay. I have an idea for Jeremy Farts. I'm gonna throw it at you. We'll see what sticks. When I was in college, I read a book called How to Make Friends and Influence People, which is
You read that book? Of course you did.
I did read that book. It's a fantastic book on how to have conversations with people and like work your way through conflict and like essentially try to get people to see your side of things. Absolutely terrible name for a book. It sounds like a book only losers would read, which maybe that's true. But I feel like Jeremy's parents signed him up for like a how to make friends camp.
How to make friends.
that'd be my pitch.
How to grease the palms of other people. Oh, I could do that, no problem. Mine are always greasy.
A firm handshake's a little hard when you got these slippery piggies.
Whoops.
Yeah, like some sort of socialization camp. Yeah, maybe like maybe they thought it was a maybe not like a fat camp, or like some sort of like, you know, just like activities camp. Like get them out there in the great outdoors to like move around a little bit.
The presidential fitness exam camp.
Okay, you want to come up with a canonical birth date for Max?
Yeah, who gives a shit? Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I looked up like the premiere date of like the first episode of Camp Camp. So
what is it?
It's June 10th. Let's say June 10th.
Max's birthday is June 10th now.
Yeah.
It's canon if you include non-canonical promotional streams.
Any other mentions? We were gonna do a season finale around Max's birthday, I think.
Oh, that's right.
I think we had that idea.
No, we did. It was for, I want to say like season 3 or 4.
Yeah, which would have made it probably later in the summer than June 10th, but that didn't happen. So.
But it didn't happen. That's a different timeline, Jordan. Those versions of Miles and Jordan, they died. They're dead, actually. And we won't get into how or why, but I know that. Butterfly effect, man. Would Snake technically be Filipino because his voice actor is also Filipino American? I could see Snake being Filipino.
Yeah.
Let's see why not.
I think that was also one of the things where that Snake was designed before we had Dante Bosco voice him. So it
Yeah.
kind of just worked out, you know.
Yeah. What did we hold on? Did Dante Bosco come to the studio for something else? And then were we like, no,
I really can't remember how that happened.
I don't remember how that happened.
There-
Either. We
there
got
are
a few people in that show that I can't believe we got voicing that show.
Yeah, that's another thing where it was like, would we have sought out Dante Bosco if we had the thought of like he should voice Snake? Yes, but I do think it was that situation where like we had him available for something else, and we were like, hey, you want to read through this?
Confirmed. Dante Bosco. We were talking to him about a Ruby thing. He was in contact with the Ruby crew, and that was our in with Dante Bosco.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there were other ones that like I remember like we were like, it has to be this guy, like it has to be this actor or something like that, and we would reach out to them. We didn't always get them, but
No.
we only got Griffin McElroy for Jasper because he lived in Austin.
Yeah.
Like that, we got really lucky on that one.
You were the one. You turned me on to the Adventure Zone. You were my gateway into the McElroy verse.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I was listening to like his character Angus McDonald, like one of the characters in that show. I was like, dude, what if this guy sounded like him?
Child Detective Angus McDonald. Oh shucks.
Oh, this is a long one. Chucky, a really good friend of Max before he disappeared. Oh goodness gracious.
Oh, Chucky was a throwaway bit for something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
like if there's here's a good rule of thumb, and like you've put more thought into the relationship than we did clearly, but if a character just gets mentioned and never brought up again, we were just using them for like
We thought it was a funny name to use for the joke. What was it for? I'm trying to remember. Poor Chucky.
God, it was like Max was referencing last summer or something. He said he was like, "I miss Chucky," or like there was a missing camper. We were trying to imply that like kids go missing and things go wrong, and, you know, like,
Yeah,
Gwen
yeah.
and David have to deal with it, and then Max named the kid, and then Al put in like in the floorboards, like in a pan up shot into the attic that like the Chucky was here, like marked into the. So like stuff like that kind of helps like flesh it out. Oh, the Cheesecake Factory. That's another.
I'm trying to remember what the bit
throwaway
about the
line.
Cheesecake Factory was.
It was like a 2 callback thing where it's like, this isn't the Cheesecake Factory or something.
Oh, was it David trying to? I think he was comparing something to being like fancy. I think he had a understanding that the Cheesecake Factory was like a really fancy
Gwen, it's
eating
not the
establishment.
Cheesecake Factory.
And I think
The Cheesecake Factory would definitely be like David's sense of like the height of luxury. And like,
yeah, look how big the menu is, Gwen.
yeah, they have everything.
They have everything here. They have the most art styles in this building. I think I may have just recently, because I hadn't been to the Cheesecake Factory until sometime around the time we were doing Camp. And I remember going there for the first time and being like, oh, so this is in defiance of God. Got it.
Not really an affront, but a what can I get away with? It's
Oh,
like
a monument to
columns and-
hedonism. Nice.
Yeah. I think I had the same reaction the first time I went to a Cheesecake Factory because I was like, I did not know it was going to be like this.
There is a, for any viewers who live in Austin, Texas, Barton Creek Mall. Here's something that I recommend doing on, I don't know, let's say a Tuesday night. Go to the Barton Creek Mall and you're going to go and you're going to eat at the Cheesecake Factory in the Barton Creek Mall. And you're going to just get so uncomfortably full, have drink, just treat yourself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to walk directly across the aisle to the AMC movie theater and watch whatever is playing after you're done eating the Cheesecake Factory. Did that for date night with some friends a couple times. Cannot recommend it enough.
Dude, seeing a movie that you have no plans to is like, just like, let's see what's playing. I like
Dealer's
that idea,
choice.
especially after a Cheesecake Factory adventure. I like this question here from Maisie. How do you feel about the headcanon that Neris is non-binary? Similar to the question earlier about, or what I said earlier about like, kind of just like throwing things out there and like leaving it open to interpretation. It's like, we never wanted to say one way or another, like about anything for any character really, so that like, you know, nobody's headcanon got like smushed. But like clearly Neris is a character who has a very like kind of open to ideas for like, their
She's a very open-minded individual.
the way they identify. Yeah, she's open-minded. And I'm even hesitating to use like pronouns for Neris, but I think we always wrote Neris as a girl, and then like slowly over time was like maybe Neris is open to, we called her Elfkin one time, just one as a joke, but two is like maybe they're open to identifying that, and then also like being so young that like I'm not sure that Neris would know what non-binary even is. So like, to have like a 9 or 10-year-old be like, and now I'm declaring myself this thing I never heard about. So
to that point,
we try to be careful about that sometimes.
To that point, first to answer the question, yeah, I could totally see Neris being non-binary.
Yeah.
Something that's really interesting, that's both a blessing and I wouldn't call it a curse, but like an interesting challenge with working on a show that runs for as long as it did, is that culture changes. Like just before we started working on Camp, like the year before was the first time I'd ever heard the phrase like trigger warning. And like now that's a very like common understood phrase. We know what it means. But I remember at the time being like, what are these people on Tumblr? What are these hashtag trigger warning things? Why are these people so sensitive? And like the way that we talk about gender fluidity has changed a lot since like that show first started. The types of jokes that we make. I mean, like when the show started, the idea of like, oh, look at this like kid that the joke of Dolph is like, ooh, he's there for art camp, but like, oh, everything he says and does, like, it's kind of Hitlery, but that's funny because like Nazis are way in the past, right?
Yeah,
and then
right? Yeah,
unfortunately,
we know in the summer of 2016.
Unfortunately, the world made some whoopsies since we came up with Dolph as a character, which is one of the reasons why, like, in that final episode that we got to work on, we were like, hey, man, the Dolph joke, run its course.
That was something I was going to insist we do, like, if we were going to do, like, a season 5 right after season 4, it was like, it has to, like, it has to change. Like, I think we held on to it for probably longer than we should have, being like,
yeah,
well, no, it's actually, like, it's a commentary because he's actually so nice. But then you have that realization of, like, people will interpret what they want to interpret.
Yeah.
And if somebody, sees Dolph and goes, well, this confirms, a horrible thing, I think, then you don't want to be responsible for that. So we would have done it sooner than 2023, but yeah, we didn't get the chance to.
Yeah, there's definitely, and I think about this on like, you think about this on everything you ever work on, of like, oh, if you could go back and do things differently. And yeah, comedy's tricky. Comedy ages like milk. Yeah, there are some jokes now that I'm just like, oh, I would not make that joke nowadays. But all that is
especially,
yeah, topical. Oh my god, yeah.
There's one joke I put in the theater camp episode in season 1. I just watched like Making a Murderer, about like nobody remembers the story, but I thought it was a big deal and was gonna like stand the test of time. But the story about this guy who, I don't even know what the status of it is now, but like in the documentary, it seemed like he was wrongfully accused of murder, and so like his name was Stephen Avery, and
oh yeah,
and so there's a line where like David is wrongfully being like dragged off by the cops or something, and he's like, I'm just like Stephen Avery, and I go, that's a great joke that will always be relevant.
That reference is always going to be a banger. I mean, I remember, were we?
This is a very important question we will get to right now, right after this.
Was there ever a moment where we were like Ocean Gate, or was that when there was that season 5 stuff when we were kind of like no longer as involved? I'm trying to remember. I think
we had submarine talks because of the kids trapped in that cave.
Right.
And Neil was going to be the savior. Like we had a whole episode where the kids were going to be stuck in a cave in, and Neil was outside and was going to be the hero, and we really wanted to be the hero. And then meanwhile, Preston was writing a disaster script for like the great triumph of them escaping, but also it needed to be based on a true story, so he's making things bad happen in the cave.
Yeah, they would be moments away from rescue, and Preston would be like, no, the story can't end now. There hasn't been enough strife. And so he would purposefully sabotage their own rescue so he could keep the story true to form. I don't know why we didn't do that episode, but like that still feels like a pretty great premise for a Camp bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was early like season 5 writing that didn't end up happening. I think that's why it didn't happen.
Maybe.
It might have been one of those ideas we went back to when we were writing the last episode we did. So the question that went by was a question about Space Kid. How do you feel about Space Kid? And it was from like Space Kid #1 fan. I think Space Kid's probably the best character in the show. I mean, I'm not even joking.
Space Kid's pure.
Yeah.
Space Kid is what we should all strive to be. Like I remember when I thought about writing for Space Kid, I kind of took a page out of like the writing for Caboose sort of vibe of like, this is a character who is more often than not absolutely infuriating to everyone around him, but his heart is pure and the audience loves him because how could you not?
Exactly. And we kind of pushed that concept further with Jeremy, where it was like Jeremy doesn't say anything offensive. He tries his best. He wants to be everyone's friend, but he's just kind of gross, and nobody.
He's just gross. You just look. Sometimes people are just kind of gross. And what I think ultimately is going to happen to Jeremy is one day someone in kindness is going to be like, "Hey, man, you seem chill, but like you got to take a bath." And I'm
Right.
like, oh. Yeah. Doth I offend? And they'll be like, yeah, man, you smell really bad. And he'll go, why didn't anyone tell me?
Oh, I would have done it. Yeah. And then like, I don't know, maybe like that leads to him also going like, also I've had like a horrible thing stuck in my throat. I didn't want to be rude and like clear my throat in front of anybody, but wow, here I am. Hi, it's me, Jeremy Farts. Yeah, he'd probably like he'd be one of those kids that gets a glow up when they hit puberty.
Any more ideas for Mr. Honeynuts? So why Max still has him from Mystery Boat. Mr. Honeynuts, as a reminder, was Max's treasured secret teddy bear that he obviously didn't want anybody to know that he still had. And I think it was I think the whole idea behind Mr. Honeynuts was just like, it just seemed like a funny thing for Max. Like, there's
imagine Max having this. Yeah.
One of the rules for Max was like, despite the fact that he is very jaded and he is like pretty up to date on like the geopolitical events of the world. So it was like, the rule was he is still a kid.
Right. He is
and so like when he had David's phone, he had Google searched boobs like, a whole bunch. And so that was one of those things was like, yeah, Max is a little shit, but he is still a kid. And even like the worst kids, the most problematic little shits, they have sensitive things that are important to them.
Yeah, it's meant to humanize, just humanize them, and you know, like everybody's got their soft spots, and Max is no different.
Yeah.
What inspired you to make Camp? And were there any characters who didn't make it into the show? Oh, also this question about Jasper is also very good. The inspiration was, well, Miles, you kind of came up with the concept and then we like worked on the characters, but like, where did the concept come from?
Well, I was answering this question earlier and then got sidetracked, but like the day that we pitched Camp was like, we were running out of time to pitch shows and we'd all been pitching shows, you, myself, Carrie, Gray, and like you can just kind of tell in the room when like this idea hasn't like, there's kind of like a little lightning bolt feeling that you kind of sense when everyone's like, ooh, that idea has legs. And that just hadn't happened yet. Yeah. And so I was driving into work. I was stressed out of my mind. And I was just thinking of that, you know, people say like, oh, write what you know. And I sure did spend 10 years in the Boy Scouts. And I sure was a camp counselor for a lot of that. And like Boy Scouts are some of the rowdiest, craziest people you'll ever meet. And you'll have like the goody two-shoe kids, and you'll have the kids that'll be like, you want to see the different colors of fire that burn from the different flavors of Crystal Light packets? Like that's the spectrum you're working with in the Boy Scouts at any given troop. And yeah, this idea of like, I don't know, it's a summer, like I went to summer camp every summer for 10 years and you got to do all these different activities, but I never got to go to any camp other than a Boy Scout camp. I never got to go to a space camp. That's not true. I did go to a theater camp for several years. But yeah, just this idea of like, it's a camp that is like, I don't know, just trying to pull a fast one, and they think that they can be all the camps, and they definitely don't have the money to do that. So huge inspiration from just my real life experience in the Boy Scouts. It's really funny. I remember we got accused a lot of being like, this is just a ripoff of Gravity Falls. And I remember going, what the hell is Gravity Falls?
Yeah,
and then I
you
watched
had not
Gravity
seen
Falls
it.
and I went, oh, this is a way better show. Oh, this is incredible. Who's this Alex Hirsch guy? I think he might be going places.
Oh man, yeah. That's also how we got. Well, no, not exactly. But we do have a connection to Gravity Falls as well with Matt Chapman, who wrote on Gravity Falls and was the voice of Neil's dad, and also the co-creator of Homestar Runner, which I am not that big of a fan. But like that guy is my number one inspiration. Like who got me into like making cartoons and stuff, and like ensemble style character shows. So it was really cool to work with him. I forgot what the other question was that I saw. Oh, it was about Jasper. It was about David and Jasper. It was about like David finding out the truth about like how Jasper died or whatever. And like the last episode we did with Jasper, it was like I mentioned earlier how we like to like maybe like tie up an end and like leave the door open kind of thing, where it's like the audience knows what happened to Jasper, the kids know what happened to Jasper. David is reminiscing about his friend, and like if he knew what happened to Jasper, like he would probably be really sad about it. So like I actually think it's a moment of mercy when the kids are like, well, and then they just look at each other and they're like, don't fucking do it, man. Don't tell them. And so like I don't know, like, and then they kind of give that like moment of piece of like passing on Jasper's message to him of like, I'm sure he forgives you or whatever. I feel like that was like a nice-ish button. We could have like tied it up a little better if we were able to bring him back, but we never got the opportunity to do another Jasper episode, so that's kind of just how it ended.
Jasper was also one of those characters that like I don't think I ever imagined the tail on Jasper. People were
The tail.
crazy about Jasper. Yeah, the fact that because what he first showed up in, which episode was it? Was it? I can't remember. Was he
season 1, episode 5? We always did Jasper episodes in episode 5.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. Because he first
Except for season 4, because we couldn't get Griffin, so we did like a Harrison episode.
because he was introduced as a ghost first, right? Wasn't that? Or was it
Not for it was the twist at the end was that he was a ghost. He was just this kid on Spooky Island, and then
Right.
at the end we were like, how do we like kind of make this like joke about him being a ghost? And I remember the editor, Cole was mainly the editor, but one of the editors back there in the editorium, his name's Richard. He was like, I don't know, just have him like go. No, wait. I don't think it was his idea. He just was telling me how stupid he found it. I was gonna misattribute the idea to him, but really he was just like, "This is cracking me up. This is so dumb." But Richard has helped us in the past with stuff, I feel like.
Journey to Spooky Island. Journey to Spooky Island. Okay,
Yeah,
hold on. Let me look at the Camp wiki to remind myself of what the plot was. 5th episode of the first season. Wow, 2016.
They heard
David
like
attempts to tell-
the wailing or something, and like they go and end up finding the sex dungeon. That quartermaster.
That's right. iPad Squirrel is there. Oh my God. Wow. I think really what it was what cemented Jasper in like the deep camp lore was when we did the flashback episode of To Lil Davy. And Jasper was like his foil. Jasper was what everyone assumed David would have been like as a kid.
Yeah. We did the old switcheroo on him.
The old switcheroo. Oh my God. What other questions do we have here? These have been great, by the way.
Opinions on Pikeman.
Oh, that boy needs therapy.
Yeah, dude. that guy would be. He's looking for some positive male role models and getting the wrong answers.
Oh my god, he would. He
Yeah.
would be on that like manosphere YouTube pipeline. Oh, Pikeman, it wouldn't go good for Pikeman unless somebody
And it
tried
really
to
wouldn't because
intervene.
like how could he pull it off? You know?
Yeah.
I'm the alpha man. Don't look at my face.
Gaming Cinnamon Bun. What's the deal with Neris and Harrison's rivalry? What was the idea behind it? It's so dumb. It's so dumb what the idea behind the rivalry
They both
was.
signed up for Magic Camp and they come from 2 different schools of magic.
Yes. Yeah. Harrison wants to perform magic, and Neris is there for like Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering and all of that. And they each believe that their magic camp is the true magic camp, and this other guy's a lame poser. That was the whole idea. Is 2 kids that signed up for magic camp, but very different magic camps. Somebody asked, what was the hardest episode to make? As more the showrunner, Jordan, I wonder if you'd have more insight into this.
Production make? Ooh.
I'd be curious. I think the hardest. Sorry, you go first.
The ones that are hard to produce are the ones that are like heavy characters, and we had to make a lot of new characters for Parents' Day. That was a challenge. We weren't as we were. I mean, are you ever not crunching really? But like it. We had enough runway that we weren't killing ourselves too bad. I think the season 3 finale was a little harder because we had a bunch more camps that they were going to check out, a bunch more kids,
Lots of
camp
sets.
wells, lots of new sets. Yeah, that one was rough, and that one was in a season where we were kind of making every episode the week it came out. So yeah, that one was tricky. Those are the hardest ones. We had some late nights delivering episodes. I don't think we ever had to do any like super long all-nighters or something on Camp, luckily.
Cartoonosaurus Rex. Oh, and quick question. Hardest episode to write for me, I think, was the Lake Lilac Summer Social. Because that
I
one
remember
was
you
constantly
really
jumping
struggling
between.
with that one. Yeah,
That one was a hard one.
perspectives.
It
That
was
one
like a
had
double length episode. And
Yeah.
that one was really tricky. Super happy with how it wound up, but like that one was like, it was almost like a live action stage play. Like everything was happening all at the same time, and you were just
Kinda
jumping between these things.
real time stuff.
And you had to like, I remember I had, because I had a whiteboard in my apartment at the time, I drew out a map of every character's blocking and where they would be during certain conversations. Like, okay, well, this person's having this conversation here, and next we're gonna need to go to here. So like at this point, this person's talking to Pikeman, and like that was a logistical challenge, which is why I was looking forward to it. And then I was in it and was like, why did I do this to myself?
Why do I do these things?
There was
that
another
one
question
had
up there.
That one had another scrapped concept. Do you remember the subplot with Preston?
The subplot with Preston.
It being resolved with Petrol. This is probably. I almost don't want to say it because it'll get the headcanons going, but like.
I do remember, yeah.
He was kind of looking at everyone's like matchups and going, it's just like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like he was kind of like grappling with something internally that he didn't really know how to like express. And we were like maybe leaning in him being like aromantic or something. And then Petrol was going to like be like, he was gonna like, yeah, just do the classic. And he's like, you're right. I don't have to worry about it. I'll come into my own in time or something like that. Or like Petrol like would hand him a note and it just said something like, it was like, I know what you're experiencing or something like that. Like hinting at
you'll grow into yourself.
Yeah. Or basically it gets better.
Yeah.
No.
I forgot about that.
That one we just ran out of time for. Like we wanted.
We just
to do
ran out
it.
of time.
We couldn't-
Screen time.
We couldn't fit it in.
So
there.
yeah. Speaking of running out of time, we are at time, but we do have one more great question here. If we had the chance to do a crossover during the show's run, what would it have been with? I was reminded
Gravity Falls would be pretty good.
Gravity Falls. If I could do it with Ed, Ed and Eddie, A crossover with Ed, Edd and Eddie. The Eds, and then the cul-de-sac
Yes.
kids at Camp Campbell.
I always
my
like
God.
base like if there's a trio, it's like everyone's got their Ed, and their Eddie, you know, and it's like clearly like the double D is Neil, Eddie is Max, Ed is Nikki.
Oh, dude, I mean, Max
like-
versus Eddie in a scheme off? Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why would I want
Yeah.
stupid jawbreakers?
Guys,
I'm with you on that one. Like, no better answer because that's another show that is like also very near and dear to another one that molded me.
the sound design specifically for Ed, Edd and Eddie is S tier. It's
I would talk about Alina, who was the sound designer on Camp, and we would just gush about like the work on that show.
Well, guys, as I said, we are at time, but do you want more of us? Guess what? If you check out that QR code, check out Streamly.com. As Jordan said earlier, we've got some Camp prints that are for sale in our respective stores. And we also do live stream signings. I'll be doing one. I don't know when yet, but in the not too distant future, you can come hang out while sign stuff, do some more Q&A, talk more Camp, talk whatever. Honestly, I got crazy stuff going on. I can talk about things. I saw Weapons last week. You want to hear my thoughts on Weapons? I'll talk about Weapons. Great movie.
We had
Anyways,
a lot to say about this show that we don't even work on, you know?
So yeah, check out the QR code, streamly.com, search us, we're there, and keep an eye on our socials for more streams in the future.
Yeah. Hopefully we could do something like this again and maybe rope in some other friends and stuff. And this was fun.
That would be a good time.
Yeah.
Jordan, any parting words for our lovelies here?
Well, besides Camp A that DM, you just never stop trying, you know? I think those are some good David words to end on. Because somebody bleeping has to.
Have a great day, everybody. Camp A DM.